ナム妙法蓮華経。ナム妙法蓮華経。ナム妙法蓮華経。Hi everyone, Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. How are you today? Hopefully healthy and secure. On that note, I've had several emails lately from you guys, and I always, it makes me glow inside when I read these emails from you all over the world, by the way, who are experiencing fulfillment and joy out of your practice. You're inspired to get up earlier in the morning to get your practice in. You come home from work and the first thing you do is you go chant for a while. Don't forget to chant just before bedtime too, 10, 15 minutes, just to, it will ease your waking in the morning. It'll give you that sense of childhood where you couldn't wait to get out of bed and then chant and get your day going. But so much success, so much, you know what it is you're aware. You're aware that your life is growing and changing, and things that normally would get you down or get in your way or totally screw up your mind for the day, you just sort of, it's not that they disappear, but you don't pay attention to them anymore. They're not an obstacle. They don't bother you. Your stress and your anxiety levels are going down. And the more you practice, the easier it becomes to practice. And that steadiness is everything. Some of you have written long letters about advice in previous emails that I've sent to you that has opened your thinking. And, not everyone's the same. Some of you are real dissectors. Some of you just need to experience something. Is this really working, or am I just playing? And when you change your mind, when you get serious about it, lo and behold, your life changes and you're noticing. That makes me so proud, so grateful. This practice, there's just nothing like it. And another follow-up note. I mentioned in the last video or so that I was entertaining the thought of maybe building some simple, elegant butsudans, starter butsudans for people. It's hard to find that kind of stuff anymore, if it ever was. And then this morning, I got an email about that being a good idea. And I thought, before I set on that path and dedicate a lot of energy to it, let me check everybody's store, Amazon. I have my issues with Amazon, but they have a global reach. So I thought, let me see what comes up on Amazon. And sure enough, there's some expensive ones on there, but there's several around the $200 to $300 range that are pretty nicely, they look nice anyway. I have no reason to believe that they're cheaply built. And that's wonderful, as long as you don't have too large of a mandala. But I thought, well, for me to take that on with the cost of lumber these days and my time, I could not compete with that. Heck, just shipping one for me, even using the cheapest methods of ground transport, I can't get under $100 just for the shipping. And with Amazon, it's free shipping, that is. So, I mean, for me to make a simple Butsudan and ship it is right away going to put me in that 400 or plus range. So why should I put that burden on you when you can get a perfectly decent, nice Butsudan on Amazon for half that price? So yeah, I'm not going to do it. What I will offer is that if you're somebody of means who wants a specific kind of Butsudan, you want to enter into discussion with me about what's advisable, what's not needed. There are a lot of Butsudans made, even these inexpensive ones, that have internal shelves, and so that when you close the doors, your entire practice is in it. Your maybe not candle holders, but your water offering and your bell and all miniaturized, and they all fit in this thing. Personally, I think you're better off just housing the mandala in the Butsudan and all that samsaric stuff like bells and plants and candles and so incense burners. This should be on a separate shelf or table in underneath the Butsudan, right? So that when you're done with your recitation, your Dhammok, you can close the Butsudan, your mandala is secure, and the incense can keep on burning until they're gone. I usually never end my recitations. I usually need to light more incense. But point taken, candles, maybe they're down low. I'll just let them be lighted until they burn out, so they clean a candle holder. Things like that are much more easy. Maintenance is much more easily done without creeping around your mandala, hoping not to hit it or touch it or fume it with cleaners and that kind of. I just think that works best outside. So that means the box, the Butsudan itself, can be elegant. You can place lights, cool lights like LEDs in there. We used to use small fluorescents they were cool. Not cool like, hey man, but cool temperature wise, right? Because you don't want to, heat your mandala. It's supposed to be, the Butsudan houses your treasure tower, both physically and metaphysically, right? So, yeah, I don't think I'm going to build or mass produce Butsudans. I think my time can be better spent on research and these videos and that kind of thing, and support emails. I spend a lot of time responding to emails, comments on patreon.com as /TLK, as well as here on YouTube and in my private emails. I have lots of communication lines. And I like to consider each email individually, as long as I can anyway. So I think I made a decision on that. I'm still open to doing something custom if you're somebody of the means to get something custom for you and discuss with me whether there's value in that or not, and then we'll deal with ship. Maybe you can come pick it up. I don't know. Every situation's different. So, enough blah, blah, blah on that. How long was that? Well, that's okay. I've got another camera, and I've got a switcher, and what I'm hoping to do, not only for Sunday Gongyo, but I want to start using my whiteboard more, because I find myself wanting to illustrate ideas and concepts. I think I'm very visual, so I would think many of you are, and it can be helpful to visualize, even if my drawings are sketchy, the ideas I'm putting forth. I've done some of that. Excuse me one moment. My nose has decided to be a little runny. Apologies. Okay. I've tried, when I have strong structure to what I'm going to talk about, I'll create something in PowerPoint or photo. Well, not Photoshop anymore. I use GIMP now. And then I'll post it on the video And it's not really interactive other than you can see it. And I make those things available on threefoldlotus.com so you can download them. But I'm kind of a flow of thought kind of guy. I don't script any of this. So when I get an idea that I think, oh, I could show this simply with a circle and a this and that, it would be nice to just have a whiteboard to cut to and go in live, talk through it as I do it. So this is what I'm hoping to use the other camera for, is to set it up so it's focused on the whiteboard during the week. On Sundays, obviously, on the mandala. But during the week, regular videos, have that whiteboard that I can cut to with my switcher and then go over there, talk, sketch, and then sit back down, back to the establishing shot here. I think that'll be useful. I'm looking forward to it. It's trickling together. It's the nature of shipping. It's the nature of figuring out what I need at the most economical without cheaping out so that there's quality. So that's going on as well. Boy, this is kind of a report card from Sylvain, isn't it? We read another Gosho, letter to Shijokin Godono. And that was interesting. That was a really good, and some of you commented, thank you for your comments on that video. So I know you're watching. It's always great to know that. Yeah, I'm not much for checking out statistics and all that. I just go by what you tell me. So I'm looking to see here if there's something else we can. Offerings in principle and actuality. All right, let's see what this translation looks like. Again, I like that there's some other translations in this dissertation simply because we've read so many Gosho from a certain collection of intellectuals and whatever inculcated little, what's the word I use all the time, cultural biases. And I'm about to plunge into several more books of some of the same Gosho, but some others that weren't covered. They're from the Taishin and what's it called? Anyway, I'll read all that when I start reading those. And they have, believe me, I've read several of them, and they are guilty of the same error that a lot of English translations have coming out of Japan. This aberration to me, but this need of these translators to westernize Asian thinking really upsets me. That's where they really inculcated, whether on purpose, which I suspect in varying degrees is the case, or quite naturally, their own cultural belief systems from religion. You know, words like faith and what's the other one I read all the time? Oh, God, it's not coming to mind right now. But you see what I mean? These words don't belong in the discourse of Buddhism. They don't belong in Prakrit. Certainly, Shakyamuni's teaching didn't use words like that. Buddhism is extremely earthbound. It's a firmly feet on the ground practice, pragmatic for daily life. There's nothing, we don't get Buddhahood from the sky or the omniscient thing, or it's all here. It's in our minds. That's what Buddhism is about. That's where it stays. So all these words that want to carry us away to fanciful thoughts, they do not belong in the dialogue. And yet, even these great authorities and authors and translators, academicians, not just some schmo like me, but real scholars, accredited scholars, in come these words, have nothing to do with Buddhism. Yet, if I can avoid or catch those as I read it, I'm hoping to make that translation valuable because it is. There are thoughts in it that are in concert with Buddhism. They certainly represent Nichiren's thinking, but those words kick us out of Buddhism and Nichiren and make us start to wonder. And I think a lot of doubt comes from the wrong use of words. We don't need to westernize Buddhism. We need to translate it accurately so that we get the clearest, most free of diversions transmission of Shakyamuni's thinking. That's what our goal should be as scholars, as bodhisattvas, certainly. And it changes the way we talk about Buddhism. And so as we share our thoughts and our experiences with others, we don't cloud the issues for them either, which I think modern schools are tremendously guilty of doing. And that's why we have so much confusion in Buddhism, so many people taking sides, because they inculcate all of this other mystical, magical thinking. It doesn't belong in Buddhism. So let's read this short Gosho. I think it's a little longer. Yeah, it's a page longer than the last one we read, maybe two. Offerings in principle and actuality. I have received the sack of polished rice, the sack of taro, and the basket of river plants that you troubled to send me by messenger. Typical opening by Nichiren. So this is obviously right off the bat a letter to somebody, a personal letter, right? He's going to inculcate teachings of Buddhism. He always does. But this voice is for those who are lay followers or other monks, but more likely a lay believer, a lay follower, right? When he's doing a dissertation, he's addressing government officials or trying to promote a certain dissertation on a subject of Buddhism. It's much more formal, right? So he goes on. Human beings have two kinds of treasure. The first is clothing, and the second is food. Did I just not finish saying how down-to-earth Buddhism is, how pragmatic Buddhism is, how it is all about your quality of life, how you experience your life? A sutra states, quote, sentient beings live in dependence upon food, end quote. Who could argue that? This passage means that those who have life sustain themselves in this world by means of clothing and food. Fish dwell in water and regard water as their treasure. Trees grow in the earth and take the earth as their treasure. Human beings live by means of food, and food is their treasure. All right, Nichiren, got it. That which we call life is the foremost of all treasures. The bigger picture, which I think makes more of an analogy with the fish in the water. The fish and its environment, its total environment, is where it finds its clothing, its food, its life, its oxygen, everything. Life is the foremost of all treasures, certainly. It is expounded that, quote, throughout the trichilocosm, there is nothing that equals the value of bodily life, end quote. Again, very, very physical, very earthbound, right? This means that the treasures filling the billion-fold world system could not replace life itself. Life is like a lamp, and food is like oil. When the oil is exhausted, the lamp will go out. And without food, life will cease. Is it just me, or do you think Nichiren's hungry as he speaks this? Well, he just got a gift of rice and taro, seaweed, and a basket of river plants. So he's being fed. So this may still be an elaboration on how grateful he is for receiving food. No small thing. Here's another one of those words, by the way. Worshipping. We do not worship. That is not in the lexicon of Buddhism. We are determined. We have conviction. We have confidence. We do what we do in order to accomplish, hone, and expand, grow, and experience our fullest potential in mind, our life condition. Yeah? And in doing that, the word Namu is placed before their names. He's talking about the Buddhas. As the initial phrase. To explain the meaning of Namu, Namu is a word from India, and in China and Japan, it is translated as, we just had several discussions on this, didn't we? Page turning karma. Come on. It is translated as, quote, devoting one's life. Devoting one's life, quote unquote, means to offer one's life to the Buddha. That's a dedication of a depth that is life itself in order to enlighten our Buddha nature, our ninth consciousness. Right? Namu. I'm open to and I'm receiving. Namu. Buddhahood, the Dharma of Buddha. According to their lot, some people have wives and children, retainers, fiefs, gold and silver, while others have no treasures. But whether one has wealth or not, no treasure surpasses that called life. That's a hard pill to swallow sometimes, because when we're really at our lowest, we can begrudge our lives, right? But what Nichiren is saying is, as long as you can chant Daimoku, you need to have deep appreciation for this opportunity. Thus, those known as the sages and worthies of ancient times offered their lives to the Buddha and were able to become Buddhas themselves. Now, what does that mean, offer their lives to the Buddha? Well, for you, it means getting up at 3 a.m. so you can get Gongyo in before you have to go to work. And making sure you chant a bit before you go to bed at night. That's offering your life to the Buddha. Do you see? For ancient times, it may have been to enter a monastery, cut all worldly ties, and really focus on developing your consciousness of Buddha. For example, the person known as the youth of the snow mountains entrusted his body to a demon in order to learn a verse consisting of 8 characters. Again, these are expedient means, and they're stories that were told for certain people of certain capacity to understand the nature of their mind. Oh, so this is a reference to a letter to Boatmaster Yasaburo, which we've read, but I think there's another translation in here which we'll be able to read. So that'll be interesting. The person known as Bodhisattva Medicine King, and I've talked at length about that, burnt his arm as an offering to the Lotus Sutra. That kind of determination. How much determination would you need to have to hear awakening, to experience enlightenment in your moment, in this moment? How much dedication to single-mindedly see the Buddha would it require of you to pour a little lighter fluid on your arm and set it ablaze? Please don't do that, but just consider how much psyching out you would have to do to yourself to go, for this reason, if this is what it takes to experience my Buddhahood, I'll do it. So it's not about burning your arm, is it? It's about that kind of resolve, that kind of absolute dedication. That's powerful. It's a pretty visceral, horrific kind of way to express it. But in our own country as well, a person known as the Crown Prince Shotoku peeled off the skin of his arm on which to copy the Lotus Sutra. Again, I don't think a person who did that could be considered mentally stable. But point made, how much confidence would you have in your own enlightenment to peel the skin off your arm? Man. The ruler known as Emperor Tenchi burned his third finger as an offering to Shakyamuni Buddha. Obviously, a more sensible person. Because these are the deeds of worthies and sages, it is hard for us to equal them. Damn right. But we can understand the mental conviction that it would take. And if we chant with that kind of mental condition or conviction or dedication, how could we fail to succeed? Right? When it comes to attaining Buddhahood, however, ordinary worldlings can become Buddhas if we bear in mind the single word, resolve. God, that makes me tingle. Kokorozashi. As for the meaning of resolve, when we consider it carefully, it comes down to the doctrine of observing the mind. Kanjin. And when we inquire into what is meant by the doctrine of observing the mind, it means that offering one's only robe to the Lotus Sutra is in fact peeling off the skin of one's body, and that in an age when hunger prevails, offering the Buddha one's sole portion of food, without which one cannot sustain life for another day, is offering one's life to the Buddha. So you see, don't take my word for it. Nichiren just showed you that all these examples of tearing the skin off to write down the Lotus Sutra, burning one's arm, they're not actual things. Consider, though, the mental fortitude, that kind of conviction in your practice. And so this is why he says, taking off your robe and offering it is like peeling off your skin. Well, no, it's not. Peeling off skin is a hell of a lot more painful. What he's saying is the act, the selfless act, the act of totally giving yourself up to Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. That act, that dedication, that's everything. Such acts bring merit fully equal to that of Bodhisattva Medicine King. Burning his arm, or the youth of the Snow Mountain, offering his life to a demon. For sages, there is offering in actuality, and for ordinary worldlings, there is offering in principle. This is the doctrine of paramita, of almsgiving, in terms of the observation of the mind, as expounded in Chuan 7 of the Chi Kuan, the Mahog Chi Kuan, right? The true path lies in the realities of the world. I've said it a million times. Buddhahood is experienced in this samsaric life, nowhere else. When the body dies, the mind dies. Without the body, the mind does not exist. When the mind dies, consciousness ends. There is no Buddha after you die. You die, you die. You are extinct. We can talk, and I will talk, about all of the energies of formation that led not only this universe to expand, but for an instantiation of one small planet where conscious minds could develop and manifest. You and me. Quote, if one profoundly discerns secular dharmas, That is precisely the Buddha Dharma, end quote. And the Nirvana Sutra states, all secular and external scriptures and writings are in each case the Buddha's teachings. They are not heterodox teachings, end quote. When the great teacher Miao Lo, Chanshan, cited the passage from Chuan 6 of the Lotus Sutra, quote, all worldly affairs of livelihood and property in no case differ from the true aspect, end quote. Comparing it with the other passages cited here and elucidating its meaning, he explained that although the first two sutras have a profound intent in comparison, they are still shallow and cannot approach the Lotus Sutra, where they explain secular dharmas in terms of Buddha Dharma. This is not so of the It interprets secular dharmas as immediately comprising the whole of the Dharma of Buddha Dharma. The sutras preached before the Lotus Sutra hold in essence that all dharmas are produced from the mind. To illustrate, they say that the mind is like the great earth, while the grasses and trees that grow on the earth are like the dharmas. Not so with the Lotus Sutra. It teaches that the mind is itself the great earth. And the great earth is precisely the grasses and trees. The sutras preached before teach that clarity of mind is like the moon, and that purity of mind is like a flower. Not so with the Lotus Sutra. It represents the doctrine that the moon is the mind. The flower is the mind. From this, we should know that polished rice is not polished rice, but precisely life itself. Wow. So when we say we're offering you food, we are offering life itself. That doesn't seem so hard to understand, right? But to really consider profoundly the meaning behind, right? I'm always telling you, Buddhism is about the mind, attitude, and intent. Attitude, how the mind is at work, how it considers what it's doing, perceiving, and intent, how it pushes out influence, messaging about its attitude and intent. It's everything. If you looked up at the moon at night and saw it as a rock flying around the earth, flying around the planet, blah, 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 it'd be cool, interesting, maybe even exciting. But if you look out at the moon and the stars and everything in the heavens, and then down at the earth, and down at your own mind, your own self, your perception of it all, and see it all as one, all from the same source, all expressions of potential from the same ground. Your body, your mind, your friends, the trees, the moon, the sky, the grandeur of it. Just try to encompass with your mind the whole of the universe. And then ponder that it's all the same thing, just different flavors. This is what I was saying the other day. It'll sit you down on your butt. Your thoughts will be so heavy, you won't be able to stand and support them. It will knock you down with sheer awe. Because I would not accept delicate fare, matters were beyond my power, and I have withdrawn to the mountain forest. Nevertheless, being an ordinary worldling, it is difficult for me to endure the cold, to withstand the heat. Food is scarce. I cannot endure like Piao Mu. who walked 10,000 li on a single meal, nor am I Tsu Kung, who survived 100 days on 9 meals. My voice, reading the sutra, dies out. This is in Mount Manobu, a remote place. He's got a little drafty cabin he's in. You can't just go down to the 7-Eleven and get a sandwich. And my mind strays from meditation because hunger, because freezing cold. Thus, your happening to send me this offering is no ordinary matter. Shakyamuni, the Lord of Teachings, must have urged you to do so. Or perhaps you were prompted by your past karmic deeds. It is difficult to express everything in a letter with respect. Wow. Sorry, but I can't think of anyone who can beat Nichiren on thank you notes. I don't mean to be trite, but wow. But what a way to teach Buddhism, right? I mean, it's deeply personal, but it's also very profound. All right, the next one will be on the transmission of the soul great matter of birth and death. Curious to see how that reads. In the meantime, thank you so much for listening. Don't forget the website, threefoldlotus.com. Lots of free info there. Like, subscribe, share. Don't forget the podcasts either. You can download them on your phone, listen to them anytime. Oh, let's see what else. Patrons. Oh my. You guys are incredible. And keep sending me, make comments, keep sending me emails, keep letting me know what you think. Every one of you is absolutely important to me. You certainly buoy my practice, and our song, creak, 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 keeps growing one by one, which is wonderful. So thank you for that. Take care of your health. Be kind to yourself. And while you're at it, be kind to others. It'll be easy. Once you're kind to yourself, you just kind of flow kindness. It's a real valuable food in our world today. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.